Welcome to the Royal Road School of Carmelite Prayer, where we continue our study of Love4Love, the life and works of Teresa of Jesus, as written by Edith Stein. We are currently in chapter 15 that we will finish today. And we were talking yesterday about a clash between the two branches of the order. And this clash must have filled the heart of the humble and peace-loving Holy Mother with the greatest of pain. In addition, it appeared that her entire work was threatened. She herself was called a gadabout by the new papal nuncio in Spain. She was disobedient, ambitious, and she presumed to teach others like a doctor of the church, despite the prohibition of St. Paul. She was ordered to choose one of the Reformed monasteries as her permanent residence and to make no further trips. How grateful she would have been for the quiet in the monastery of Toledo, which Father Gracian suggested to her, had there not been such a hostile design behind the command. All the monasteries of the Reform were prohibited from taking in novices, condemning them to extinction. Her beloved sons were reviled and persecuted. Father John of the Cross, who had always kept himself far from any conflict, was even secretly abducted and kept in humiliating confinement in the monastery of the Celts in Toledo. He was cruelly abused until the Blessed Virgin, his protectress, since childhood, miraculously freed him. In this storm that finally made everyone lose courage, Holy Mother Teresa alone stood erect. Together with her daughters, she stormed heaven. She was tireless in encouraging her sons with letters and advice, in calling her friends for help, in presenting the true circumstances to the Father General, who had once been so good to her, in appealing to her most powerful patron, the King, for protection. And finally, she arrived at the solution that she recommended as the only possible one: the complete separation of the Celts from the discalced Carmelites into two different provinces. The congregation of the religious in Rome had been occupied with the unfortunate conflict for a long time. A well-informed cardinal, whom Pope Gregory XIII questioned concerning the state of affairs, responded, "The congregation has thoroughly investigated all the complaints of the Carmelites of the mitigated rule. It comes down to the following. Those with the mitigated rule fear that the reform will finally reform them too." The Pope then decided that the monasteries of the Carmelite friars and nuns of the Reform were to constitute a province of their own under a provincial chosen by them. A brief dated June the 27th, 1580, announced this decision. In March of 1581, the chapter of Alcala elected Father Geronimo Gracian as its first provincial in accordance with the Holy Mother's wishes. Amen. So we have completed chapter 15, talking about all the strife that poor Saint Teresa of Avila had to go through before her death. After she had established her monasteries, she had to see the strife that existed between the Celts, or the traditional Carmelites, and then her Reformed movement. But we all know that in the end it all worked out. So there's only one chapter left, chapter 16, and that's entitled The End. So I hope you're enjoying following along and may God bless you and yours. Amen.